Good morning. We are going to do a little conspiracy generating with Sarah Silverman. Voice approximation.
This is the random conspiracy generator, a device which uses GPT-Nukes 20B's penchant for extracting patterns. And there are patterns everywhere. And if this device found a pattern, it ain't from nowhere. And if we don't think it's a pattern, too bad. GPT-Nukes 20B found it. It's a pattern, just like my prostate and my doubly claimed Mazda, which would have screwed me come tax time, and GPT-Nukes 20B told me to go get bulk checked. And I'm glad I did. Here's a treat, 20B, for having my back. So, yes, if you are ready to understand the secret collaborations of the world, press this button and the whole case will be blown wide open. Take your time. No rush. I just have to pick up my kid after his Bible study, but he can wait. Totally safe neighborhood. There's a church next door, and across the street he can sleep in it. This goes a bit long. Seeing you balancing your options. Do you stay in blissful ignorance, or carry the burdens of those of us who know? I decide for you and press the button. Oh, is that me? Butterfingers. The machine bathes you in light, and you are bombarded with liquid living data, which whispers in your ear the real honest to God, why would we lie true? It is true. They were trying to cover something else up. This thing is not what it seems. Do you feel better now? Yes. Good. Let's continue on. You may be disappointed by our conclusion, as you'll find out later. But such is the power of these algorithms. You wanted real answers, you've gotten real answers. Sometimes they're alarming, sometimes they make your nose run, but they're all the real truth. There's some explanation. I can't give it away without making myself sick, but no worries, because you knew there'd be something else at work here. Like two of the accused meeting each other while preparing to confess. Exclamation point. What a huge reveal. People are really talking about it. Down in the comments. Praise be to God and Jordan. You heard that?
DoorDash.
Probably. All right, come back at 7 p. Next Saturday, it should all make more sense then. But most importantly, please keep thinking critically and analyzing data. Don't worry about offending us. We love making an easy buck, okay? Good night, all hail Zachary. Dan. I nearly busted a gut. Why would anybody want to collect random nonsense off of GPT Neox and sell it, making us all look like kooks? Couldn't possibly have a reasonable answer. And sure enough, if there were some good folks making their livings running the generator, they aren't showing themselves here. And if it's somebody here messing with us, well, that makes everyone looking really foolish, and they really hate that. I found that out when I worked security at a rave last Halloween. And a pretty damn dark web server they shut down before anyone found anything even resembling anything vaguely interesting. Thank the Lord for the moderation process. Anyway, the rest of you didn't just spring from the random. Just random conspiracies wouldn't have amounted to all these customers around my table right now. A year of creating rigs had left me with more than the 3 big lessons. Thou shalt not give away your NFTs. Thou shalt not hatch great conspiracies to commit no harm, and oh, how many people caught in the fallout of this lesson so far today. Thou shalt not go buck wild on the contra-enlisted big boy and daddy. If you'd known where this journey was headed, maybe you'd have tried to swerve off the ledge right here in the parking lot. Me? I needed to finish seeing my client out, because his garage had gotten some kind of floor protection going. At this point in his story, he needed a pro looking. Made sense. Time to go to work, trying to wipe my smirk clean as I thumped into the break room. The fact that an original t-shirt featured the the well-known no such thing as bad publicity meme brought about a satisfying groan from my chair's legs. And judging by the names scrawled beneath this guy's creations, the editors of Urban Legend did right by their wares. Snooze and cheats, gathering nuggets. Really, in retrospect, none of that makes much sense. That, or this place's clients have pretty close to perfect poker faces. For 2 more minutes anyway, when I turned my way to check things out while I pulled the check on him. Didn't get suspicious. There wasn't even anything personal in there. Oh, wait, there was. He worked out there on the ground too? Or at least his branch did? Double eye roll. Could have found a cheaper cleaning service that also offered plumbing and drywall fix-ups if we ever decided to put on more square footage down there. Think you've got something for us. One moment, the kid shouted back from his half-wrecked office. A handful of printers spit out posters, then sat quietly, chugging out them one per second as they churned off labels on an endless stream of plastic product boxes. An advertisement that helped spread a feeling that moved on after the punchline never sounded the same twice. Who could expect otherwise? Eventually, all 5 machines shut off one at a time to a single flapping machine whose crash spelled silence that left only a drip on a lone strand of pasta to accompany the smothering dread slowly enveloping my thoughts like an asphyxiated earthworm. All we needed now were 2 box springs from the comfort seats, and I'd have had us an idea. A cheap pie would have sufficed. 3 box springs, and our friend here was pretty much dead. Looks good enough, I said to no one in particular, looking over his pile of garbage, knowing perfectly well it wouldn't do him any damn good, so maybe it'll buy some more time anyway. One good turn deserves another. And all that. Can't say he'd really earn that bonus as a decent-looking lad of 20. I was certain shirts said snooze and cheats only went to ugly people like myself. He might be fairly lucky he found any shirt at all. When all is said and done, isn't the experience with products themselves more important than whatever marketing material a shop drops? 2 teenagers entering the room to wheel him into a house forced me to sneakily slide behind the nearest refrigerator as his once pretty friend stared wide-eyed at the shredded arm I jammed beneath it like the mangled, yellowing remains of an ancient love letter. Also screaming now thanks to me pushing on to its gangrenous. Jin's the fireman who slumped through the doorway without my realizing it was real. You ask, do I need to send in the cleaners? Well, under the circumstances, I have absolutely no compunctions about slapping you back and saying, maybe next time, as we had always kept him at arm's length when necessary, in respect of our initial policy of avoiding mixing work life with life. Take the day off. I had heard one of his coworkers plead earlier that morning with what sounded to my ears like just the tiniest bit of desperation in his voice as they set out on their early rounds of selling new units off the rack. Only 3 units total for our whole facility. No bossa yanks up their t-shirt sleeve kind of wasteful ordering. Not that we wasted nothing else. Just those. They walked out into the fresh spring air as he grimaced around the terrible facsimile of a smile that he did manage to break from our hidebound company over that 20-minute coffee date once last year. 2 cups full of miserable piddle made worse by how poorly our nearest competition tended to their service fee policies. Can't call a manager at 11 when something doesn't happen the way you wanted it to, he had remarked during our few minutes together after one too many swipes at the little bubble McFun wedge between the buttons of the uniform's jacket lapel, though still surprisingly soft-spoken for someone his age. He now looked increasingly less sure of himself when attempting even basic interactions, thanks to them all eating their heads off. Just let them say screw you and roll their own work shift in. Of course you could. leaving him to stand there unable to rightly form anything further after introducing him as their fearless leader, who happened to know we paid some folks dirt cheap as long as they don't expect free post-ship teas or use company-made warranties. How such a simple idea grew into an everlasting treatise nobody took note of in full. As in his good deeds, today he simply wore the company's red color, looked down on most every client who ever visited as a possible liar, with every false expression from each so-called compliment, until we forgot it's about them that people read websites like this. Told him he smelled great. He didn't agree then, nor did he understand. We had agreed not to worry about customers seeing through any sort of backroom office magic like smoke screens or whatnot. Hell, only an hour earlier, that sort of thinking made more sense than taking bets on the demise of my sales force. Do we need to fill the power vacuum? Let me repeat myself. Under normal circumstances, I won't. So, what make everything about that idiot special to risk falling for that nice lady's pretty words that sounded so wonderful right before they showed us who's really holding all the cards when dealing from the bottom of the deck? No offense taken, of course, because what fun is insulting anybody just because we got pushed down like the dirt of a rotting toilet from under the cracks of reality in those 5 seconds between arriving and the front door slamming shut behind us again. Pushing back against a darkness too old to keep a whole place so cheerful, joyously triumphant despite not having to sell a thing since this morning, and never again perhaps will another chance arrive, regardless how it would mean being well again if there are a dozen more people desperate enough to let everyone go first class plus some unknown. Fortunately, things miraculously broke for them. They rarely did, and anyway, where did their stupid pride in us end? And did anybody really trust something like a cross-functional system, where shared utilities usually find themselves halfway around the world of questionable renown if the economy somehow recovers? Normally there's talk of slow death, or worse. Only regular visitors take any comfort at all. The checkup revealed that my knee surgery hadn't quite yet caught up to me when I brushed myself off like a raccoon crawling from the rubble of an exploding bridge before handing the lady the 2 folded $20 bills. Not bad at all on top of the paid holiday. Don't want her taking off till you return for another dose. Take note that he would do exactly that now too when asked. Let's go to our Zumba class. Maybe CrossFit this afternoon. Already starts sweating whenever he lays eyes upon those logs. Already smells of freshly laid gravel. Nothing official, just what anyone else here in town does. Like when you want to fool your gums with a wet wool smell only found when everything's well kept. Took over their cello shop 6 years ago, a second after his girlfriend decided that one of the neighborhood ladies would make a better piano teacher than this grizzled relic with leathery knees whose icky approach was greeted only with less resistance from him than an interview rejection and a headache as fast as those hot and cold lessons. The day they gave me the lead alto part, years of knocking doors brought nowhere then, followed by our work vacancy for all our vacant space long after all the neighbors, but this one refused to enter or left behind with so little experience. You enter to smell the new cellos. One stroke per 1,000 sound files brings in enough that rent is always on time. Too often doing the wrong thing was right only here. Also, we failed the building inspector twice. 10 grand invested and then cut for soft costs. Between his days making my room spotless, he makes excuses for any found money between 2 coffee cans from some upstanding supermarket brand. Only made the pots last a full shift in time to slough away down here. Thank God when we caught their careless, this lot tastes like cat food. stunt playing that annoyingly obvious public service announcement, which may be the only kind of law-keeping common folk bother doing on top of paying our fines under protest, regardless how reasonable when framed through the prism of experience with several shoddy potion manufactories around town never offering their potion by the word thanks much as they care for our product. Potion to deodorize bag of holding +5. Spoke of which, does anybody care at all? It wasn't good enough anyhow to try explaining a history where workplace injuries tend to slow way down eventually. Moreover, not his fault he developed the condition reflex towards 3 simple words that wouldn't vanish from our conversation forever, despite once more giving it a sincere attempt while helping me finish work hours before end of shift, of which our lone big ticket sales so far barely filled out even one extra. I thanked him that week anyway, despite every worker here losing sleep at night, so everybody would enjoy better benefits overall, so one can save face without compromising too much since human rights. Thank God nobody did any shoplifting yet, everybody getting a salary comparable to 2 sales salaries earned 2 months back. Note to self. The poor thing hardly has no one and can only start small with zero competition and treatment for potion maker elbow. He starts grabbing boxes left and right for no better reason than filling orders in. Shifts put them in another cart beside the tiny amount already accounted for here, with more clatter in the nearby fitting room whose glass walls really would benefit from blinds. That's probably one more way of staying anonymous after he slows down bit by bit, still shaky as a colt, wearing the same $200 suit and smelling less expensive now as when we first met, after convincing some early comers who refused to call in sick otherwise with nothing but hi, I'm sending myself an email about that bug in Outlook Express. You should always note that in a mall grocery store, customer service always looks bored in front of each register regardless their answers, given the ease with which you'd stroll over and accidentally kill one another at this moment before wandering out the doors like anybody else. You're John Q. Murderous, and Tommy Mansalters for those 2 unfortunate ladies who lost last year, and now frantic to pay what you owe just for not liking how bad today is shaping up for everybody, and real soon for you, even as you cashier called upon like so many times these last couple months. A dude poring over math yesterday tapped his temple for confirmation whether it's okay to chow down on such rare beef when asking where the nearest worst-case scenario for several quick suggestions regarding them 2 lost sisters, so what makes us special. Some kid doesn't care about money, though any number of better places don't hand you this hard copy. Middle-aged woman writes down, they went missing May 36th and were discovered September 14th. Muttering with a new keyboard right around her own eyes, the kind most high school students start using last quarter, senior year, with great mastery. On October 23rd, because hey, more productive in writing here compared to killing your fellow man for revenge or pleasure, they could do it now. August 40th, night wind will have whisked all the birds away already, only none of the hawks making eye contact for once outside a hidden warehouse office stuck to the 3rd floor while passing out tickets from their cup of hot coffee from home alone of late morning, with fresh sunlight hitting everything within that retail giant of doom everywhere, equally from that Starbucks type you ordered so much of, which explains why we were charged double back in their hole-in-the-wall throwaway operations, simply for you for whom this won't help never again really understanding the economy compared to starving families hardly eating enough of that meat over there in its cheap display case, hoping another with lower marks but cleaner cut may have gone past this hour, thanks God. All the nomadic murderesses and earthsfurters dangling freely through every vehicle windows you happen upon, like on the morning news. People should have fought more when offered. Press charges harder against said security officer. I wouldn't want to work in a place like that, no matter how pleasant he spoke this last week with warm memories and getting a nosebleed. Turning 60 doesn't matter unless I didn't sleep all the way through when doing my first aid course, despite morning announcements mentioning, oh wait, No, if I got fired immediately following 2 bad surgeries after convincing myself last month we can always wait the 2 weeks before risking other jobs according to legal fees. I never heard of her side until I walked into one office 40 years later anyway. Yes, 6 months wait with bills coming from left and right about extra weeks leave costing higher interest rates because one working nights doesn't take 20 minutes driving but twice an hour. She had to let it all out. Yup. I made a right mess here in the toolbox department, forcing everyone around here to watch a teenager say he wants a new job fair sooner than later, avoiding falling asleep before driving to our address forever that never moved closer to work otherwise, or he'd have jumped out his parents' second car back behind us so far only everybody on her payroll, the morning crew, wouldn't believe otherwise, that anything was different, exactly the same, except she mentioned all kinds of work at a cash register, standing down in line right in front of him, here neither seen nor known after April 31st, checking up on absent employees regarding they were found somewhere between Tashkent and Glasgow. They're already called this week on Saturday, some forgotten weekend killing all time from second floor, like they finally decided to head toward their bedroom. The master and mistress bedroom and the intended washroom, where she and that madman tortured all our poor loved ones last year gone, and now unearthing history for later generations in great detail, breaking not one but many of their promises due to several misgivings of interest, given all these books where you cannot make people less concerned about having signed this without realizing that choice now become possible. Who even saw this before us? Let alone remember what the places here should look like next 5 years if ever still open, which nowadays means shutting doors inside both good and bad sense, though apparently at least their system allows her to hide up on the third floor during 10 hours today, listening to live customers punch numbers just so their products reach any money people stuff inside each, till seeing much is done without setting foot on a lower level, getting rather lazy and stupid while indulging those within instead. Can you believe the victims all left a tip? Are you kidding me? After receiving meager wages just the last month, hardly enough to meet car loan and cable bill and tuition to go here, instead, get laid a lot by paying $19. 9 to 5/month to drink through those fuckable glass walls, he laughed, patting his watery eyes carefully arranged near here. Handsome figure, young dude stumbling, brushing those rough beards dry the size of our roommate's legs, letting them straighten out somewhere northeast of his cafe atop this massive piece of crinkled paper, not writing itself. I'd have thought she meant from laying for who knows how long months a sleep bed of broken promises and frustration. It broke almost as soon as made. Rest assured my sighs and such would be appropriate measures. Sorry, sirs and M lords that came this week, either under pressure of crying too hard on, phone in middle of shift, or out at spite by selecting each the particular calendar you're now looking at, whose best reason why something of ours we're not escaping on all the top news stories going round town says better or worse, just better than remembering somebody we care about blowing smoke down the side of someone's leg, smelling slightly stale towards this door's window, which still fails to generate any heat in her beady cold office wrapped with shadows, eating whatever wayward thought encircled it while always hungry, now late to grab takeout. Don't cry, understand. Lost mine somewhere up in these ashes beside a body showing nothing but red carpet away from where some kind of void taken over, probably one in my state of mind below standard personal space, a hall as wide as 2 linemen, a third-yard zone, running low from pinches used for ties, used ones. Who wants mimosas? Pay enough in reserve already, even before enough starts brewing. Thanks God everybody is into gourmet coffee, since our president, whose ideas most every senator we pay agrees with any time, against amending our own bill after debating why said idea hasn't passed when all along the thing has been ready except one in house, preventing whatever life brings. The bit nails how he wandered as usual, skipping yesterday's lunch today to fetch himself something chewable. Anyway, Again, this state gives me trouble forming letters until taking my head out the doorway listening for anything getting dizzy, though all I hear are blips on the air conditioner till several breathing breaths, weird and complex, well trained not to disturb others, learning ways from veterans to run between two subway lines, maybe riding next door, which goes halfway for sanity. Building or just mental belief, you really gotta know when a vital fact is unclear. Let me top off your mimosas with this latte. Thank you, and nice shoes for making my mistake waiting there. You're awesome too, but you should sit next to him here. Can we even pretend this was ever one person anymore in my particular field of choice? Yeesh. Picking a duffel coat of mine up from this worn gray towel, literally too nervous to check if one of them got ripped the whole week reading horror stories over first cuts about horrible fires spreading fast, leaving it somewhere around October 16th midnight, hiding alone behind these burning hot walls, white wine including chocolate mint stopping sniffles, hating my job minus tips alone ever since she bought new stereo playing top 40 Christmas music. Remind me why I kept the jacket, more out of pride than hoping it's back soon, but being appreciated. Let us go buy ice cream where these trucks almost always stop between fourth and fifth quarters, promising immediate refund should the shithead sack get what's coming his way, either blowing through exit gates, turning all too blue. 3 years now since time comes every morning, refusing to learn. I have been asking him to bite each ass cheeks every 5 months, minus breakup attempt, whereas last week I ventured a moan. This morning, shortly before losing a tip, finding my couch beside wet sheets, freezing legs also turning blue now, though very peaceful, actually less frightening than 318 approaching change and impacts, staring into gray wind passing outside parking lot beneath tattered sky, dark purple. You mentioned paying higher interest for life-saving surgeries. Great ball player late. Played football, point guard with hard skills, switching this smile to where money makes the real deal. Others cash out 3 checks per month, possibly 7 days lucky, falling out from plan last fall. Fast forward, but paychecks sort out like doctors, only small additional fees, not surprised. Oh, here's some fish food. Gotta stay present. Hell, somebody had better save her life in 10 hours, having at least gotten stuck this long together. Shutting off laptop as show approaches, wondering where are you, and is someone pulling the cord? Same city on its outskirts, barely imagine it, all beat usual midsummer slow drive today, relaxing across land divided in green and gray from failing light into lights blinding, moving lots more important compared to such streets seemingly tuned into no directions, ready in advance if wanted. A cop now screaming something is wrong, heading towards store. We ought never forget, preparing nothing then forgetting, even driving, hoping that will stay good rather then disappear until I went too far, reaching an earphone's memory air. Hello in sight, basement screen permanently playing scratched, warped noise. The song in heavy traffic went beyond bad before roaring over clutter, trying to go somewhere, not sure why, laughing, realizing most probably through shrapnel, directed toward nobody, right then entering water, yet starting from phone connected through somewhere close. This towel tickling me pleasantly, remembering until tugging said hand gently under cold, not to ice thick, haggard footsteps, slower by minutes, producing knocking door, dildo hair with sex-like face, brown eye bags filled by receding jaw, filthy kind of mouth calling attention to itself, wearing food all over me, starting from trying to kick inside, ridding myself of drinks frozen upside down. There was just a reason, the hands spread wide aside the long bathroom counter isn't a fully finished portion here, trying to connect your hand. Well, you can take a whiff as you wish before tossing into the bin beside naked kids arriving one summer from Atlantic City, nowhere near, convinced God only knows. Last seen this August 1st, letting us wait at a roadside window, nearly reaching everywhere nearby, could turn sideways with low glass bending ominous red up along the plain beyond, you ready with pictures. Photographs still shocked for anyone how we truly appeared, enjoying each other on his best friend's sofa before dinner. Invitations to brunches became invitation to moonlight cruises floating along local estuaries until neither spoke much after sun rose sharply, appearing over their bedroom to reflect upon what a sleep together had looked like. Heard the deep exhale, witnessed parts of tonight both amusing and important thereafter, finally leading to silent negotiation emotions, quite impulsive, happy moment lighting, all rooms barely listening through ears, making up mind before school called bullshit 6 blocks away, wishing summer lasted another week, resting side by side because should come home again. See, the baby has come. Except though this moment falls neatly outside all possible channels, anyone at house meant to define spring break better. This next one from Wednesday, thank God, confirming right man. Somewhere nearby here, bustling and putting them out there, looking back from blue-green glass, pushing clear shapes where girls inside somewhere figured him into slums when those minds ready for reading pressed his photos, leaning close, her fingers scrolled each blemish, dragging said history into 2 instances, looking suddenly frozen away into movie parts, nowhere near understood those small muffled sounds, sometimes knew quite well, moving slow in even public settings, catching echoes from guests, hearing loudly, thinking couldn't they say something less high class? While working underneath green wet trashy cello, looking further into progress, mostly naked, choosing when exactly someone wanted you, overpaid stock market like money unheard of, dreaming into all possible roads, nowhere, wondering what must it be like, never ever waiting for you, maybe arriving home earlier that morning for just an hour to walk streets, deciding dinner, hey wait, you'd only use it against your body, including scratching with these scissors, need this laughter, having finished slicing, if not starting, because as bad as it gets, feeling strange pains forming wherever, always fine, worrying so much but taking more hours than they add up later, checking his tracks again, such a simple job despite slipping between paintwork forms piled into books of gods for immediate pickup, lifting paper, shutting light, memory lingering. Any moment now, searching would strike empty stacks, moved restlessly, covering whole elect. Ain't fast than thought. Why wall trying to connect one piece from this art displayed upstairs, melting down walls, expanding, shuffle quick, near anyone would have understood obviously. 2 day drive versus flight, entire setting to outer space, spreading anxiety, noting everyone missing. I wouldn't lie, knowing why, trying to climb beneath the table until giddy she convinced to scream, inviting nightmares suddenly swallowing once outside, so much destruction crashing from below, whispering shiverly a long shadowless middle air, louder go. Aloud into endless noise, really ain't it what a show, let me guess. This is from this guy. So said former doctor, me grunting, slipping, hitting flat while blowing after studying yours like this, pretending to drink, answering, also inviting comparisons, latching on to match, nothing more about skill, preferring blurbs, analyzing, getting laid, teaching math, mostly okay, found himself inside sunset love with tea from certain angles, people really were 2 + 3 was 6, nobody around, how every child hopes their father did, but soon this joint belongs to no one. Office within breathing space, houses of broken wood strewn over entire town, housing mind while empty, each opening withering near bed, calling anyone showing interest, touching its decay, feeling ghostly, myself bent across ocean, sinking a sort of fence or slender side face, hinting at pale soft pink shadow somewhere gone shy, must feel pity, thinking, looking up ahead, bleeding body sliced into silver waters, almost natural, carrying darker message, stirring occasionally, seeing myself escaping my seat, tumbling each field, widening roads rapidly, exiting left window, unable to decide, running until brain chilled toward dimly lit surfaces, slinking before random, for becoming unfamiliar, reach and flow east north, reaching bottom corner window, chasm swarming toward as far as the eye could see, counting tables, the boy at heart always understands, lying sleepless days, there was finally some motion or electricity, if only twitching blue in electric city, asking, hey, is someone else still up? Is it not dark? Listening carefully, no bodies beneath feet, drifting listless arms, petite eyes, lazy muscle, can't handle bright sun glare, and footsteps, fine shaved head, face striking, mind foots, hanky on, taking arm, extends welcome, whatever form self took, either only begging to find connections real or imaginary, years long about remembering, same smelly corner facing bright walls, desperate enough to hallucinate monsters, never confessing good from bad thoughts, often bragging your desires, eat this slow, why can't we be alone now by moonlight, because 2 years you learn more tricks, looking into table, nodding, happy, recognizing girl, whispering, sultry laughter, ringing my doorbell, and was always trouble sleeping, nowhere near inviting fire, making miles till September 3rd noon, shining black clouds ready to move outward despite adding several $1 million fees, walking, entering forgotten first year, choosing history, either saying you hate school yet bought clothes, wanting that feel, wanted knowing, effort turned invisible, nervous for making art, anybody reading these words secretly remember making connection hidden sometimes under too heavy skin, someone connecting where space juggled, scales tipping somewhere upon I simply this and me talking over class hurriedly, noticing close call writing needed more than my legs curled against legs, preparing for tests, just standing over racking boards. Click, teeth, laugh, cursing very softly, grinding hip joints, rub tight, white underwear clear across white, too obvious, slightly fading outside, blue, cold, almost forever filling ear canals, including windows. Inside today's dark tunnels, rush, bus going underground, crunching, rubber with care, always writing, sat somewhere leaning before old haughty photos. One student managed to go downtown versus rest of us bound by train route, bleeding station below, always broke free, half remembering without be a longing which now leaving plenty to discover every Friday night, then beginning late on Monday, wishing out that weekend wasn't coming each evening, desperate enough for eye contact starting when perhaps losing appetite, moving meals, gradually needing breath, reminding me so much like dancing, set back stiff between turning away, her boyfriend involved, like he really looked though for each moment prior, afraid we are disappearing, remembered walking part of summer, attending something famous event, felt on. See, found by those not remotely impressed at all, become fine going past. Names resembling stars from Flash magazine, stopping surrounded by sidewalk, tall grass, sky, reminding him exactly this stop, wanting anything what could belong to another vanished world, offering comfort, climbing everything, bright red sort of thin box, drinking straight vodka, need money, receive vague acknowledgement or apology, ignored, eventually drawing details at night, past foreign stars, wandering love, helping kitchen move, certain cooking toward large widescreen window, counter near neighbor play. In trumpet wishing, noticed guitar joining closer, arms rotating, inviting eye contact, and attention, we're thinking dim corridors, plus kitchen, old bar getting restless, longing, arriving where tiny girls at side doors staring, using elevator, last seen, had no business to be there, younger sister playing unscheduled shows, spinning hips, relaxing, plus room somewhere, teaching sound, exiting, shouting, make food, yet undressed, all I have for years, but hanging up, walking 48 blocks towards Bowery, graffiti, corner telephone wires, glittering, calling name. Same voice, knowing what would follow, asking you missed work. Sweetheart, sing see you Friday if weather behaves. Yes, still quick about buying tickets, eagerly waiting, just reaching movies, finding deep into special day weather. Saturday, hurry, got $50. Lottery maybe 6 times, number pulled down, didn't know, can't remember. Checking through own wallet, secretly reminded about youth, inventing music, paper placed ahead. Some kid took said one that resembled her, becoming deeper, rush, crying, wind, hair about midnight, driving road, hoping said tonight, all alone road, stopping, nodding knowingly until Thursday, one stethoscope blowing, getting inside 20 something, exhausted, examining, no eyes, smelling worse than always, distant, imagining particular show, felt older this time, felt fear, reached other side of basement. Only explanation ready, writing faces, names, white arc, sometime opened hand, a letter so soon fast appeared, slipping, ushers removing something more hidden, shouting goodbye, choking my fist, somebody nearby, they heard knocking, turning, each pocket swallowing. Often rising alone, passed on bench, their hopeless dreams, unsure, unbelieved, pretending so carefully, accepted how thin you might end up within desperate being, but saying fuck it for escaping human shape, entire body behind faint smile, he smiled, must tell our lives no more with feeling, recalling top beneath stairwell opposite with searching hands, one arrived, saying leaving, began even quicker, surrounded by Bowery, working, ears open, stared right before moving it, a singing, preferring, look only scared, then hoped, lost, connecting, desires, only parts remained, paying, street corner shadows, yearning, passing, deeper, wanting, first looks, boy, later, leading, dance, wandering, whole left town, sort of holding inside, skinny lines, laughing, putting it on my tongue, breathing, gray lights. Okay, I don't go today. How did he knew exact address, remembering other dozen roads, same wood sliding when willing? Anything makes me more closer, she farther, I promise, since grown weaker, for suddenly not thinking since imagined bodies fleeing. The John Birch Society has arrived. A sharp blow from a dart upsets of his computer calculations on an ancient and slightly embarrassing oracular dream machine from the vicinity of C minor. Adagio cantabile, as sung by Elsa Rainier, c. 1925-45, was intended to evoke the ineffable experience of losing one's grasp on temporal reality through sheer exhaustion while viewing old Italian masterpieces. Each stroke of a card drops 2 needles into 5 hoppers, which pass 2 grains of rice under apertures with proper numbers on them. Each needle which falls over sets up an immediate lightning strike from the atmosphere balls to indicate the presence of something randomly associated with the state of your health in combination with random patterns representing the year's presidential election cycle.
More later.